Hey guys, you're watching Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and to our podcast on all streaming platforms. We're back with another Just Hoop Talk.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
JHT. I don't know, acronym or something. We got to get that intro, man. I got to shout out to my boy AT, man. I talked to him. He said he would do one for us.
Let's
too.
Get it, man.
You guys think an intro song would be good? A little Just Hoop Talk theme song, man. I don't know. We're gonna run one. Today's episode is sponsored by Emerge Marketing Strategies, the number one source for businesses to emerge and grow. We help with social media marketing, branding, any content creation that's needed. Emerge Marketing Strategies, go-to for marketing resources. And now we're in the podcast. I want to talk a little bit about, we talk so much about how we're going to start this podcast.
Yeah.
Ending it's another thing too.
Yeah.
We probably got to figure out. And there's, I think some people do starts and finishes really well. And one thing I want to talk about is start and finish to a basketball game, right? Obviously there's tip off. There's cordial. You tip off the ball. Some of the players roll the ball down or dribble it out, whatever, to get the game started. But the end of the game sometimes leaves something to be questioned. And not everybody sees it the right way. Right. It's kind of one of those unwritten rules. You know, baseball has the unwritten rules. But in the in-game scenario, what do you do if you're up by 10 points, 15, 20 points? If you're the team that's winning or if you're the team that's behind. We've seen a couple fights happen lately, and I want to get your feedback. Like, what's your thought on this whole end of the game type of scenario, man?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's popped up a lot, and it seems like it's almost like a generational thing. I read a lot of comments. So I see the videos and I read the comments, and I'm like, I see a lot of comments that are like, just play to the end, like. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay. Because I remember always being told, like, if you're up by more than 10, you don't shoot the ball. Yeah. Unless it's at the end of the clock and you have to shoot the ball. Yep. But you're not actively trying to score if you're up by more than 10. Right. And that's just always kind of like how I was told. Even the same situation, if you're down by more than 10, you don't foul to extend the game. Yep. And that's just like always how it's been. That's what I always thought. Everyone agreed. Like, okay, we're down by 11. All right, we're not going to foul then. But if we're down by 9, we can foul and still try to potentially come back and win the game. But if it's 10, like the game's over. Let's not get hurt. Mm-hmm. Let's not run up the stats and run up the score. Let's just end this thing and we'll get back at it next time. Yeah. Because it in one of the things that comes up is like, when you have a situation where some people are playing and some people aren't, like that's how people get hurt. Yes, it is. Like that's the biggest. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why everyone kind of agrees to. All right, let's not do anything stupid now. Yeah. But you don't really see anybody get hurt like in those scenarios. The in-game scenario, I've never really seen anybody like get hurt. No, yeah, I'm thinking like if I'm kind of walking or I'm not playing and you're running, like that's a recipe for disaster. Like if we all agree, like okay, the game's over, like but it's this weird like people being on different pages kind of thing is when it gets ugly, and that's when the fights break out. It's true because that's true. If I'm like, bro, I'm not playing, like what are you doing? Like, but you're like, you should have been playing, but like I'm not trying to run up the score on you. Like what's going on? Like so. Yeah, we have to kind of figure that out. Like, even I don't know, man. It's just these kind of things are going to keep happening.
I think that there's those are unwritten rules, and it's obviously meant to like save people's pride and keep people from getting emotional on the court, which is what you see when you see somebody shoot up a three and they push them, or they're throwing the basketballs at each other, or like the college kid that was ready to hit him with the chair. Man, you see the emotion start to come out because you've lost the game. Yeah, and so there's pride that comes in there. And I think a lot of people just can't take the fact that they're getting beat. Yeah. So what do? You stop playing, or you've seen the teams that quit, and then they end up getting somebody comes back on them because they're trying to be nice. They tone it down with 5 minutes left. I think the Kings just recently pulled off like a 22-point victory in the last 5 minutes of the game because the other team kind of laid down. Right. But those guys are still playing. Like, what were the Kings supposed to do? Just stop playing? Yeah. And even at the end of the basketball game, you're down by 10. You've seen the miraculous comebacks. You saw Tracy McGrady score 13 points in 39 seconds. Like, the game is never over. I think the Kings, speaking of the Kings, in that same game, they scored 15 points in the last, minute and a half or something like that. They overcame a 15-point deficit. Yeah, so it's like, when it gets down to, competing, when do you really stop? Even if it's the last possession of the game, who's to say that you don't get a few turnovers? Reggie Miller, scored a ton of points in a limited time. So it's like, I don't know. For me, I think that, you have the unwritten rules, and out of respect for your opponent, okay, I get it. But I don't think getting mad about somebody playing, especially if you're the team that's winning, like, I don't see how you can get mad at a team for wanting to compete. It's almost like you have to just be on guard. Right.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that's like, everyone has to kind of agree to do something. Otherwise, this is going to keep popping up. Mm-hmm. I think, I was watching the Grizzlies game, so that's kind of the scenario like we're referencing. Like the Grizzlies were up by 24. There's 48 seconds left on the clock. Yeah. And Jay Crowder like steals the ball in the backcourt, runs to the corner and shoots a three. Like, to me, like that's obviously like he's trying to get his stats up or something. Yeah. You know? Like, I think that rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Well, rubbed Elvin Payton the wrong way.
Definitely. I think it kind of reminds me of. Do you remember when what was his name? Ricky Davis. Ricky Davis, laid the ball up on his own basket. Like, he's just trying to get stats. Like, and I know a lot of people, like a lot of players take like exception to that. Like, damn, bro, you're trying to get your stats up right now. Like, the game's over. You're trying to take advantage of the situation because you see, they're not playing. Oh, I'm gonna go steal this ball real quick and shoot a three. And that's like, but I think. There's
a player, Jordan Poole, I think, did that the other day where it was like the last second he sprinted down and they were down by 4 or 5 points and he did like a layup with no time left on the clock. Like,
someone's just trying to get stats and like that's super whack to me. But like I don't think necessarily fighting that player is a resolution to that situation. I think when players do that, you got to just put that in the back of your mind, like, oh, okay.
Cool. Like, how does it get ended? Because I think that it's not like it's such a big problem that it needs to be like NBA needs to address it or anything. But there is a thing when players are pushing, they're fighting, and the emotion starts to come out. It's like, that I think that can come out at any point of a basketball game. But when there is a lead and when it's been a hard fought game, like how, as the player that. If you feel disrespected, what are you supposed to do? Yeah. You really can't do a whole lot. You can't. Players hitting a dagger, a 3-pointer in your face. It's like you want to stand up for your team. You want to stand up for your players. Right. I remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a few years ago were doing this thing when they were kneeling the ball. They were attacking the center. You remember that? Yeah, that's right. They were attacking the center, and there was like a big controversy of like, hey, it's the end of the game. We're kneeling. You're supposed to just stop. But I think the coach that came from college and was saying, hey, we got some turnovers doing this before. So it's like, when do you really stop playing? Like,
it's tough.
Who's to say who's right?
Right. That's the thing is like that's when things get bad is when one team or certain players decide to stop. And the other players don't honor that. It's like, damn, bro, like you see I'm shutting it down, but like you're still playing. But the other player's argument is like, that's not my fault. Like you decided, like that's not Jay Crowder's fault that Alfred Payton obviously decided to give up. The Knicks have given up on their whole season. That's not his fault. You know what I mean? But like, it's just a thing where like if you do that, if Jay Crowder does that, he has to understand like, okay, now he's a target. If you want to do that, you go right ahead. But then you can't. And honestly, like looking at his reaction, like you could tell he wasn't really mad. Like he kind of understood. Like, all right, like I probably should have done that. You know, like
or it's even the opposite. It's like, all right, well, stop me next time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, to be honest, like, I think if it's something that happens in a game, you just can't be mad about it. You're like, you already got your ass beat. Like, the game's done. You already got beat. Like, if you don't want to keep playing, I'm going to keep playing. When you step in between that rectangle, when you step on the court, the clock is running. There's 48 minutes in a basketball game, and just because you decide to quit in a game or you wanted to be let down easy or you want to have your pride, like not everybody on the court feels the same way. So that's up to you as an individual. You can get mad and push and get in a fight and get suspended, but now you're just being a poor sport. It's like, yeah, maybe the other person's being a poor sport, but if they're going to play, just play D. Don't let them make the shot.
Or straight up. Or foul the shit out of him.
Or foul the shit out, Get your money's worth.
If you feel some type of way, I guess, hey, do what you got to do.
Hey, he definitely got his money's worth on that push, though. I was laughing at that one. But you've seen it a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
it is coming up. And the worst kind of case scenario, obviously, was Kansas.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst case scenario because that, like, fell into the crowd and, like, fans were getting involved and stuff. And then players coming off of benches, like, you don't want to see that. But I don't even remember. I think KU was up.
Yeah, that's
KU was up by a lot,
and the guy played defense.
Yeah, and he decided to steal the ball. Like, And so he came back down the court, and he was like, okay, you want to do that? I'm going to beat it off the backboard.
Yeah.
Like, and they took exception to him beating it off the backboard, but then he only did that because the guy decided to try to make it.
It's so
crazy,
weird
man.
to me. And it's like, pride, I think just your pride starts to take over at the end of the game. But it's like, I think the pride is there because it is an unwritten rule. Because if everybody just played hard till the end of the game, there would be no unwritten rule. It would be a rule like you just play the game.
Right.
And if you don't want your players to get hurt, or if you're scared of like that, as a coach, take your players out.
Yeah, exactly.
Take them out of that scenario. If you put your bench players in, I don't think that they're going to be mad at them chucking up threes or whatever. Like, then we know those guys are just trying to get some burn. Like, maybe that's your sign of admitting, and you better have the game in the bag. Otherwise, keep playing, man. I'm an advocate of keep playing,
you know what?
Man.
It's an interesting scenario. When I was at school, I was in college, I was playing. We played kind of like a conference rival. It was Missouri Baptist University, and we beat them at their house.
Yep.
And we were up by like 15, and our player, it was almost the exact kind of scenario. He got the ball at the end of the clock, went down the court, laid it up, and kind of ran up the score. And like their coach was screaming at us, and my coach was screaming at the player, like, "What are you doing?" And when we got back to the locker room, because everyone's like, "Whatever, get your buckets," This is kind of when I was like, I learned this lesson. He was like, my coach is heated because he's like, man, you're giving those guys extra fuel for the next time we play them. He was like, don't give an opponent an extra reason to hate you.
Yep.
Because this is a conference rival, bro. Yeah. And it's not even like, you have to play them again.
Yep.
And you're going to see them again, and they're going to be heated, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where like, yo, if you do that, understand there's consequences for it,
Oh shit! Just be ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, now you got to be ready.
I think I'm an advocate for playing like as a coach too. Like coaching a team. What do you tell your team?
Yeah.
Do you tell your team, okay, it's time to be easy on them now? Like,
do
you tell them like it's a tough message to spill.
When is the right time? Like, and a lot of players don't necessarily have that situational awareness.
Right.
So it's like telling some guy to take especially the type of player, telling a guy to take his foot off the gas is like the wrong thing to say to a player.
It's like, oh, don't try as hard on defense, or like don't play as hard on offense. And then what message are you sending for the rest of the season too? Yeah. Because then, okay, you take, you stop playing with the 10-point lead. Well, do you start playing with the 8-point lead?
Yeah.
Or do you just have to turn it back on now? Like they score a quick 3, get a steal, get another bucket. It's a 5-point game, and now you have to switch that gear all over again. It's like, when do you quit?
What was that Instagram post? It was like Kobe's daughter, it was Gigi's team, and they beat another team like 100 and something to 30 something or something like that. Man. Yeah. And it was like, damn, but the reason that they beat that team so bad was because they had played them before, and that team beat them bad. So it's like one of those things, man. Like you run up the score, guess what, bro? They're coming back,
Hey, I'm all for it, man. Yeah. I'm all for it. Like, if there's games like that, I think there should be more NBA games like that.
Yeah.
40, 50-point wins. Like, just get it, man. Like, you're not always going to have a good day. And I think that player, you play with pride. And just know that it's not always going to be your day. Like, sometimes you're going to get beat by 50. Like, just be able to take it, because the days that you play hard and you win, you should be able to feel that same type of accomplishment. That joy, you shouldn't have to be like, oh, we could have won by 50, but we stopped playing hard. So
right.
It's kind of like when you play Madden. Yeah, they got the 21-point rule in Madden, and it's like, why? I can come. There's games where I played Madden, I came back from 21 points, and just because it looked bad on paper, or the other team might have been just trying to run out the clock, it's like, no, I'm still playing. Came back and win.
How many examples have there been too of like? I think we talked about Kobe having 60 in the third quarter. Or Melo had something crazy in the third quarter one time, and then the coaches just take him out.
Yeah, Harden's been doing it lately too. Yeah. Curry, Steph.
Yeah. Where like, who knows what could have happened?
We kind of lost a chance to see greatness.
Yeah.
Will in there getting 100.
Right. How is anyone ever going to score 100 if players keep getting taken out?
Luka had like a 40-point triple-double in 3 quarters.
Right.
Time.
Yeah,
like,
he did. Yeah, he did.
What would it start? 50-point triple-double? Like with 20 and 20? Like
probably a 60, bro. Like honestly, easily.
It's crazy because we are missing out on great things because of the unwritten rules of basketball. And, and like you said, how to end the game. Like fourth quarter, like should they still be out there?
Right.
Maybe. But then
again, the injuries, like everything kind of comes into play.
Guys get mad.
Yeah. Then Alfred Payton is like, yo, dog, you're not scoring 100 on me, bro.
And it's like, we can't stop you, so we have to foul you. We have to hurt you. We have to injure you. Our pride and get under your skin. It's, I don't know, man. I don't know how to really get around it, but I don't know. I'm all for playing hard.
It's an interesting basketball topic, you know? It really it's one of those things that'll never be answered. There's never going to be a right answer for it, you know? Like,
some teams are going to do different than other teams. Some players are going to do different than what their teams want, but I don't know, man. I'm all for 48 minutes. Give it to me. Run it up. Run it up, man.
Yeah.
All right, what are you guys' thoughts? What do you guys think? You guys think the end of the game should be, you know, something where you play nice, or do you think, you know, you thinking the whole quarter, the whole game, you got to go hard
to the buzzer, huh?
Man, let us know your thoughts at JustHoopTalk on all social media platforms. That's another edition. We in the books.
Sir. It's a wrap.
For more NBA, college, and hoops coverage, be sure to subscribe to Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube and all streaming platforms.